Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another video. This is a paid request this time for Bronson. Thank you so much for that. For those interested in requesting any type of videos, topics, reactions, video game playthroughs, commentaries, what have you, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. And this is for the 1997 film Flubber. And you see starring Robin Williams. Other people you have in there, let's see, Christopher McDonald, who before this was Shooter McGavin, the villain in Happy Gilmore. He plays kind of a similar character in here, but not nearly as effective as it was in Happy Gilmore. You have Ted Levine and Clancy Brown. Ted Levine from Silence of the Lambs, Clancy Brown from Highlander and Buckaroo Banzai, as these two henchmen working with this bad guy. Not McDonald, but another bad guy. And it's directed by Les Mayfield. I knew that name sounded familiar. He directed Encino Man, which I enjoyed. And he also directed Blue Streak with Martin Lawrence, another film I liked. So, pretty much this was an era where Robin Williams for a while was pissed off at Disney. Because this whole deal with Aladdin, where I'll do Aladdin, but could you ease up on the advertising of my name because of this, and that. Also, I have a film coming out called Toys, and I really want to get that centered on it and put attention on that as well. But whatever the exact details were, I'm not 100% sure on it. Disney lied. Disney went back on the deal. And Robin Williams was pissed. And he said, screw this, I'm never going to work with Disney. That is why he was not the voice of the genie in the second Aladdin film. But, I don't know if it was money, whatever the case, things got patched up. And that's why he did the genie voice in the third Aladdin movie that went direct to video. And then he did this film. Now, this is also a time where I'm sure Robin, he just wanted to get some, hey, his leading man roles. Sometimes you wonder if some of these were just paycheck roles. Like, Jumanji was very successful a few years before. So maybe he's like, okay, I'll try to do some lighthearted affair. And, like, a few years later, you have Patch Adams. That was very successful. This one, I don't know. It made in the U.S. almost as a little bit more than it cost. Maybe with overseas money it made a little bit. I don't know. Might have lost some money too. I don't know the details of it. It wasn't a gargantuan hit like Jumanji from budget to gross. Same with Patch Adams. And also this is a film you don't really hear anyone talk about. And watching it again, I can see why. I mean, I have it because it's Robin Williams. When he passed away, just wanted to get as much of his stuff as I could. And it's harmless. It's forgettable, though. It's fairly forgettable. It's good for kids, if you have kids. And, I mean, I'm a sucker for Robin. It's nice to see him there. It's a very short film. I mean, the movie's only, it says 94 minutes, but it felt shorter than that. You take into account the end credits, among other stuff. Now, it is a remake of The Absent-Minded Professor. And it kind of gets to that notion of, did that film need a remake? Not that, I mean, The Absent-Minded Professor was what it was for its time. I wouldn't say I love the film or anything, because I don't. It's there. So you just say, well, it's a remake that could improve on the original. Okay, I could maybe see your point on that, but it's just more of, did I really ever care to see another version of this? Not really. I don't know if anybody else really did either. And it's telling how the original was called The Absent-Minded Professor, and this one's just titled Flubber. Because this was the main selling point for the kids, this little gelatin guy. And I forgot that, as it says here, Screenplay by Bill Walsh and John Hughes. Yes. The guy who directed The Breakfast Club, the guy who directed Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, the guy who directed. What else? 16 Candles, Weird Science, Uncle Buck. After Home Alone, which he helped write, that pretty much garnered what his future would be. To write, produce films that had that similar family-friendly feel to it. So whether it be this film, whether it be, oh God, what was it? What was it? Baby's Day Out was another one. There were a few films like that John Hughes was writing, and it's one of those things that they didn't really seem like they were up to the standard John Hughes talent. So it kind of felt like, okay, here's a thing here, cash some paychecks. And you see that he kind of went to the well a little bit with the Home Alone, especially with the Henchmen. Like, I think he saw how successful Joe Pesci and Daniel Stern were. So why don't we have 3 of those type of guys, and then you put them in the Baby's Day Out? Let's have 2 of those guys, but have them played by Clancy Brown and Ted Levine. And they just never captured the magic that Joe Pesci and Daniel Stern had in the first Home Alone film. Now, this is one of those movies where the story, Robin, he's a professor, he's a scientist, the college he works at is in trouble and needs to be saved. He's with his girlfriend, played by Marcia Gay Harden, who is getting ready for the wedding, he's missed the wedding multiple times because he's very forgetful on stuff when he gets honed in on an experiment. He promises he won't forget, but lo and behold, he forgets yet again. And this is the same time he discovers this flying rubber, who in this movie is more of a sentient being, and the original I don't think it was. This is more of a sentient being. Flying rubber, nickname Flubber. Now, also, he has this flying robot named Weebo, which that definitely was not in the original because they didn't really have the technology back then to make something like that. It kind of this weird thing where the robot, it's like a sentient being, it's AI, and is in love with Robin Williams, which I thought was kind of a weird thing. This robot is in love, even to a point that it makes a female hologram of itself and tries to kiss Robin when he's asleep. Imagine if that was switched around. Imagine if that was a guy who made himself and tries to kiss a woman sleeping and she doesn't notice. That's almost 3 degrees of rape. But I just thought that was kind of like, huh? Meanwhile, Christopher McDonald is another guy at the school, the college, who, because understandably so, Marcia Gay Harden is so tired of Robin missing the weddings, she's like, it's over, and get the idea maybe she'll lean more towards McDonald's character, which, I mean, it's always nice to see him in there, but it's just a very pale imitation of Shooter McGavin, with not nearly the gusto, not nearly the... Honestly, the dialogue, people would be like, what? Yeah, Happy Gilmore, I would say, is a better written movie in terms of lines and dialogue than this movie. And again, one of the writers is John Hughes, so go figure. But it's very, I would say the thing with the film, it's very sanitized. It's fairly safe. It's fairly, how many times can I say fairly? Constructed to try to secure box office when you ultimately realize it's a movie that really doesn't have a whole lot of merit other than to make money, and maybe he was trying to get some merchandise with Flubber type of stuff as well for Disney. But like I say, it was harmless. There's nothing about it made me mad or anything. It's short enough. It goes at enough of a quick pace that I get to, oh, it's like, wow, it's almost over already. But I thought, it's, like I said, it's nice to see Robin in the film, being a fan of his, but he's kind of handcuffed to the material. I read somewhere that many scenes he would do like his own ad libs, but none of them really got into the movie, or very few. If that's the case, I could tell. Maybe it's one of those things like he had to work with a bit special effect. But at the same time, I can't say like his Jumanji, you could say the same thing, but I still saw a bit more of that wit and that energy of Robin in that movie. And for a movie that's like a bit effects piece, but you still got Robin's fun comic energy, I thought that was a bigger. It was a better melding of those two special effects and Robin's gusto. Better melding than this one. And maybe that's the thing. Maybe they thought they would get the success of Jumanji. But then it's Disney, maybe it'd be even bigger success, but it wasn't. At least, again, from how much the budget and the box office was. Because I think this cost more money than Jumanji. And his character is likable enough. He doesn't mean to forget. He is a. It's weird to say more subdued, but more. Like compared to Patch Adams, yeah, he's more subdued. And there's some little decent bits in there. Like he goes into the classroom, and it takes him a full minute or two to realize he's in the wrong classroom because it's supposed to be his chemistry class, and he realizes that you have to admit that's a life drawing class. Like I say, it's definitely a movie that it feels a bit more for much younger kids, especially with the flubber, with how when it's created, it bounces around, it'll blow raspberries. When it's going crazy around the neighborhood, it'll hit Robin in the head, and it'll be this big pratfall. Uh, it'll be behind a woman and tries to shape it like her ass. It goes somewhere and draws a Mona Lisa. But after drawing a Mona Lisa, it then gives like these big mustache on her. Very like ADD riddled mold of gelatin. And Robin does the best he can to work with an object that's not there. Like when he's talking to it, you're foldable. Look, you're gullible. Like he's trying, but I don't think he had a whole lot to work with that he could really reach his full comic potential in this type of film. Or he did try and they just didn't use a lot of it for some reason. So it leads into, like I said, he misses the wedding. He has this flubber thing. Weebo's trying to get her, I don't know, circuits wet and folded on themselves. I don't fucking know. It is a bit of a weird thing. I also find it funny that, okay, oh, Flubber will be the way to save the college. I'm sitting there going, you got a flying robot that's AI. I know you say later what was it? How do I put it? He didn't know how it happened because it was an accident, and no matter how hard he tried, he couldn't recreate that accident. But wouldn't you think, like, to just, you have this thing now, to show it off and you be responsible and make sure she's safe, but people could learn and interact, and even a fucking sideshow, even a fucking tour with the flying, AI robot would give you enough money, attention, finance, people throwing money at you to save your fucking college. Let alone all the other shit you build in your house. That's the thing. Back to the day in the original film, was it Fred McMurray? He didn't have all this. So, okay, this will maybe help save the college. Here it's like, wait a minute, you got all this other stuff that even again, you put on a tour guide. and sell tickets to the show. Ask questions, interact with the robot. That it would scientist grants, something like that. We'll give you grants and see if you can recreate this. Here's some funding. You'll use it to save the college. But no. Whatever, though. So, while that's going on, you have this other guy. I forget his name. I've seen him in a lot of stuff. He's the father whose son, Wil Wheaton, from Star Trek: The Next Generation, among other stuff. Wil Wheaton is crying because he got kicked out of basketball because he failed his class. So the father sends two henchmen to try to talk to Robin Williams, which they said they tried to talk to him once, but maybe he forgot. We'll try to do it again. Maybe he wants more money or something. And the two henchmen are Ted Levine and Clancy Brown. It's nice to see them in the movie. They don't have a whole lot to do. And that's the difference. Like Joe Pesci and Daniel Stern, they were in the film. Even though technically it's a short time, but when they're there, they really make it work. What I mean by that is, like, they're at the beginning and then they disappear for a bit, but when they show up, then they have enough scenes and enough moments to really make them cemented as very memorable characters. Clancy Brown and Ted Levine don't really have that time to do so. Because we're too concentrated on Weebo, the try to get in Robin's pants, or Robin trying to deal with this Flubber thing, doing these tests to have more pratfalls because Home Alone had a lot of pratfalls, so because of that, then make sure you put a lot more in these films John Hughes would write in the future. Among other stuff. And I can't remember all the films John Hughes helped write after Home Alone. I had to see a list. I saw a list once before. I can't remember them. But like, it's nice to see them in there. They just don't have a lot to do other than they're watching, and Robin has his cream, I guess from Flubber's molecules, so it bounces highly. He does a golf ball, then a bowling ball, and the golf ball hits one of them, and the bowling ball hits the other. I think the bowling ball hits Ted Levine, and they get hit a couple times, which is very similar to you would think with Joe Pesci, Daniel Stern, Home Alone, but just not nearly as effective. It just feels like a lesser repeat of that. I would say even some of the moments of Baby's Day Out I probably got more laughs out of than this one. And then somehow that leads into him doing experiments. He puts some stuff into the car and then he has a flying car. Because I think in the original there was a flying car as well. Forgive me if I'm wrong. I think it was in the original. And then he has a flying car. And he goes on a test drive. And then like one of the running gags is this little kid keeps seeing these things, keeps getting scarred for life repeatedly. I know it's meant to be funny, but I'm like, this fucking kid is going to have a shitload of therapy sessions in his future. So I felt more bad for the kid instead of laughing. Dennis the Menace, that's another one. Okay, yeah, I think Dennis the Menace John Hughes helped write. Speaking of pratfalls and things of that nature. So yeah, Dennis the Menace was one of them. The one with Walter Matthau. I think John Hughes had him writing that. I could be wrong. Forgive me. If I'm wrong, I apologize. But that's another thing. He has a flying car, and then his idea is, wait, there's the basketball game. I'll put this stuff on the shoes of the players, and they'll win the game. And man, it's going to show her what Flubber can really do. And I'm sitting there going, dude, you got a flying car. Just fly by her, pick her up, and fly her around and say, look what I got. I got a flying fucking car. Fuck the basketball shoes. You got a flying car, dude. I think if you flew by your car, she'll notice real quick something's up, and wow, what the hell? And if she's at all a teacher, at all a person of learning, she wants to learn how the hell this happened. I think the flying car is going to help you a lot more than the fucking basketball game, but we need the basketball game because that was a big part of the original, was the basketball game. Which, to be honest, I didn't give a shit about that. It was just lame pratfalls. You know, it's the basketball team, and Robin's put the cream on these things under the shoes, and even, you know, hey, give me five. So if they get the ball, it's thumping back and forth real quick, and they're just jumping. And no, yeah, it's a Disney film. It's goofy. Of course, no one notices that if you jump 85 feet in the air, that's normal. And someone even mentions, wait a minute, that's cheating. Oh, no, it's the other team cheats. They win. I'm like, so they win because they're better. Doesn't mean they're cheating. It's because they're better. Get good then. You still cheated. No matter how you word it, you still fucking cheated. So later on, when Christopher McDonald tells him, you cheated, I'm like, you're right, you did cheat. So yeah, I know that's in it because it was in the original, but I didn't care about that scene. I didn't find it funny. I don't know anybody on this team, so I don't give a fuck who wins or loses on the team. There's no sense of, why should I care? I guess I'm supposed to just care about the crazy height that people go and the special effects. So I guess, hey, if you enjoyed the special effects, cool. I didn't give a rat's ass about it in that scene. I can't remember if that's before or after Weebo makes herself a female hologram. And oh, by the way, the voice of Weebo, I believe is the same girl who's the voice of Ariel in the original Little Mermaid. And she does a fine enough job. It's just her character, it's supposed to be a flawed character because she purposely screws up the news of the wedding because she's in love with him and she doesn't want him married. And then later she feels bad, so she tries to work it out. And that's the whole point, you know, the quote arc of the character, this being a robot. I thought the effects of the robot were, I think for the most part, looked practical. Nicely done. I thought it looked better than the Flubber, which is, you know, just CGI, 1997 CGI. It's really, I mean, it's an effect showcase that Robin's just kind of there, going through the motions. And that's what it felt like. Him just going through the motions. And I mean, maybe he did this because, hey, John Hughes helped write it, and looked at some of the films he helped write, like Home Alone. Hey, it's a paycheck. Hey, maybe this will be a big hit. So it keeps me on the highlight and the spotlight to get other projects. Who knows? And then even at the basketball, after the game, she's not impressed and still says no. And then Weebo hears how sad Robin is and goes to tell her. And then when Robin shows her the car, then she's like, wow, she's flipping out. Wow, you know what you need to do with this? Yeah, we need to go into basketball shoes. No, it's a car company. This is a flying car. Spoilers, long story short, I know too late because it's already 24 minutes in. They the guy who plays Wil Wheaton's dad sees the flying car, says, you know what, we need this, whatever this invention is. Ted Levine, Clancy Brown go in. Weebo tries to defend it, but she gets hit. Wow, it just reminded me of Batteries Not Included, honestly. When they try to help and the bad guys hit one of those ships. Batteries Not Included was a film from the late 80s, produced by Steven Spielberg. Had Jessica Tandy, Hume Cronin in it. They had this diner as part of this building that people were trying to get down. These alien little spaceships come in and help them out. I would say I probably enjoyed that film more than this. So I don't hate the film. It's a serviceable time waster, but it's also forgettable, and it's not. It didn't make me mad like Patch Adams, but it's not near the highlights of Robin's career. Like Jumanji, I would put well above this among many others. Weebo dies, but she downloaded part of herself, so he can use that later and create a daughter, Weebo. You get to the final bit where Robin and the lady confront the bad guys. They use the flubber, it goes crazy, people bounce off. Pratfall finale. One moment I did enjoy is Ted Levine is with Robin, and he's like, "What's this?" It's a pistol, but it's a water pistol. And the head guy, keeps saying, "Give it to him," and Ted keeps shooting Robin in the face. Put it in his hand, and then he keeps shooting the hand. If you see the wide shot, when Ted shoots Robin's hand, you look at Robin, it looks like he's ready to crack up. Like Ted Levine is shooting at Robin's hand, like, no, no, put it in his hand. No, no, no. And you look at Robin Williams' face, he's like he's ready to crack up, you could tell. And I like Ted Levine, he's a good actor. Kind of nice to just see him with Robin. I wish there were more scenes of that. In fact, that'd probably be one of the questions I would ask Ted Levine. One would be about The Mangler, because I love the film, and the other would be about how was it working with Robin Williams. Because I guarantee you, he never gets asked about this movie. In fact, I never really see him in interviews. But if he did, I'm sure mostly it'd be about Silence of the Lambs. Maybe a few about the TV show Monk. But, which he does a good job on that, but yeah. Always like Ted Levine. It's nice to see a little bit with him and Robin. And it ends in a juvenile no where the flubber gets into Christopher McDonald's mouth and it explodes out of his ass and makes a big hole in the pants. But hey, things work out at the end. The college is saved. They fly off in their car. Finally married with the daughter Weebet and the little flubber, and everything's fine and dandy. Oh, you also have, in the middle of the film, a flubber dance sequence where all the flubbers duplicate from themselves and they have a little tango dance scene. And again, that seems to be the reason this film got made, is because, hey, it's in the Disney vault, we could remake it, we got these special effects that are being utilized in films like Twister, Independence Day, it's a realm of the CGI, maybe we could sell this to kids, cute little characters, and it's just, there's not a lot of substance there, and there's not a lot of, like Jumanji, even that film, it's a family film, but it felt like there's more to it compared to this. So like I said, it's not the worst thing ever or such, it's just very meh. That's the best way to put this, meh. That's just my thoughts on Flubber. But with that said, thanks for watching, take care, and we'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.